Good Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversation Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Well, we made it to the first hump day of the month of February. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Wednesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich in today's Entertainment Spotlight. You can be part of my conversation with educator and author Lakeasha Williams, celebrating her Amazon best-selling children's book, Shine On Brown Girl. Enjoy today's program. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In international news, Putin offers more talks with West to defuse Ukraine tensions. Russian President Vladimir Putin said Tuesday that the U.S. and its allies have ignored Russia's top security demands, but added that Moscow remains open to more talks with the West on easing soaring tensions over Ukraine. Putin argued that it's possible to negotiate an end to the standoff if interests of all parties, including Russia's security concerns, are taken into account. Russia has denied having an intention to attack its neighbor, but talks between Russia and the West have so far failed to yield any progress. Washington and its allies have rejected Moscow's demand for a halt to NATO's expansion to Ukraine and other ex-Soviet nations, a freeze on the deployment of weapons there, and a rollback of alliance forces from Eastern Europe, describing them as non-starters. They emphasize that Ukraine, like any other nation, has the right to choose alliances. The Russian leader countered that argument by noting that the Western allies' refusal to meet Russia's demands violate their obligations on integrity of security for all nations. He warned that Ukraine's ascension to NATO could lead to a situation where Ukrainian authorities launch a military action to reclaim control over Crimea or areas controlled by Russia-backed separatists in the country's east. Russia annexed Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula in 2014 following the ouster of the country's Moscow-friendly president, and later threw its weight behind rebels in Ukraine's eastern industrial heartland, triggering a conflict that has killed over 14,000. Speaking after talks with the Hungarian prime minister, who forged close ties with Moscow, even though his country is a member of NATO, Putin noted that it's still possible to negotiate a settlement that would take every party's concerns into account. The Russian leader argued that NATO's open-door policy doesn't oblige the alliance to offer membership to Ukraine, suggesting that the alliance could tell Ukraine that it can't join due to earlier international obligations. In more international news, virus infections for Olympic athletes and coaches rising faster. Athletes and team officials are testing positive for COVID-19 at much higher rates than other people arriving in China for the Beijing Olympics, organizers said on Tuesday. Figures released by local organizers showed 11 positive tests for COVID-19 among 379 athletes and officials arriving on Monday. They have been taken into isolation hotels to limit the spread of the infection that could miss their events. Over the 3-day period from Saturday through Monday, the positivity rate for athletes and officials was 40% higher than other Olympic arrivals. In national news, all-out effort to keep Biden COVID-free, no normal yet. When President Joe Biden met with U.S. governors at the White House on Monday, he was the only one given a glass of water, lest anyone else remove their mask to take a drink. The president was seated more than 10 feet from everyone, including Vice President Kamala Harris and members of his cabinet. A White House staffer who was wearing a surgical mask when Biden entered the room was quickly handed an N95 version. These are just some of the extraordinary efforts on the part of the White House to keep the president from getting COVID-19, even though he's gotten both of his regular vaccinations and his booster. It's no surprise that unusual steps are taken to protect any president, but the strict precautions could also threaten to undercut Biden administration's own efforts to tell Americans, especially those who are vaccinated and boosted, that they can go on with something closer to their normal lives in the face of the Omicron wave. As the nation's vaccine response and vaccination campaign has become increasingly politicized, White House officials have expressed both political and policy concerns over a possible Biden infection. Though the vaccines are highly effective, a breakthrough case could erode public confidence in the shots and be used against a president who was elected to bring an end to the pandemic. In sports, Tom Brady retires after 22 seasons and 7 Super Bowl titles. Tom Brady walked away from the NFL on his own terms, still at the top of his game. Brady, the most successful quarterback in league history and one of the greatest champions in professional sports, has retired after winning 7 Super Bowls and setting numerous passing records in an unprecedented 22-year career. This is difficult for me to write, but here it goes. I am not going to make that competitive commitment anymore, Brady wrote in a lengthy post on Instagram Tuesday. I have loved my NFL career, and now it is time to focus my time and energy on other things that require my attention. And finally, in business news, stocks waver on Wall Street following a dismal January. Stocks wavered in afternoon trading on Wall Street Tuesday as the market comes off its worst month since early in the pandemic, nearly 2 years ago. The S&P 500 rose 0.1%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 47 points, or 0.1%, and the Nasdaq rose 0.1%. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's on time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, take it away.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Shift your perspective. To create a life of happiness and contentment, it may be necessary for you to shift your attitude from one of despair to one of delight. People who go through life practicing joy are not usually blessed with lives of abundance, love, or success. They are blessed with the ability to see the situations they have been handed and make them into something great. These people understand that to make a conscious choice to be happy is not enough. They do not see with preconceived notions of good or bad. They simply shift their perceptions to appreciate every experience for the beautiful life lesson it brings into their life. Our world is a complex, unpredictable, and chaotic place, and our human tendency is to focus on the negative. You must learn to observe the world through the eyes of a child. Drop any and all preconceived notions of what is good or what is bad. Simply appreciate the joy of life. Today, gradually shift your perspective to contentment and happiness. As you always, enjoy the day.
Author and educator Lakeasha Williams is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight. We're here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Educator and author Lakeasha Williams joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the success of her Amazon best-selling children's book, Shine On Brown Girl and the Experience. Here's a bit of our conversation.
Well, Lakeasha, this is our first live interview that we've had since the book was, one, officially out, and two, of course, within a very short period of time, became an Amazon bestseller. What has this past week been like for you since the book's actual release?
Wow. This week has been just an array of all types of emotions, because I kind of feel like I've given birth. And we know when we give birth to something, we know that it's, you're filled with all types of emotions, happiness, sadness, struggle. But in the end, you have your beautiful baby for you to love for life. And for me, my baby is finally here, Shine On Brown Girl. And it's just so much more than I even imagined.
What was it like for you? Because I saw you in the pre-promotion for the book. What was it like for you to kind of see it all come together once you actually were able to hold the book for yourself?
It's an absolutely beautiful and amazing feeling. As you said, lots of work went into this, and to see everything come to fruition with all of the Shine On Brown girls, whether they're 5 or 25 or 55, the message has resonated with so many women, here in the United States, as well as, some of my international connections as well. So to see everything come full circle and actually live out this moment is truly beyond words.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. Prepare to guest on tomorrow's more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.